Thank you, Michelle.
Welcome to
Well,
the show, Maribel.
we've opened a murder investigation in the US, basically, on the back of this. I just add as a bit of a note that it happened at 33 Montague Square, and in the transcript, Noah Reno noted that at 3:30 p.m., Scott Young walked in out of the fucking blue to the apartment before they locked him in. But my case, I found myself, in summary, working for a company called J. Stern and Co., who are co-located with Edmund de Rothschild in London. And since the Epstein files have been released in February, I've been able to rationalize what's happened to me, as basically I was the legitimization for, I was an FCA authorized person when I've now been able to prove that there's no planet on which they could have been authorized legally, that was used to legitimize what appears to be a money laundering front for an Epstein vehicle in London. The primary perpetrator against myself is somebody called Thomas Leone and Alfred Price. His father was a deputy high court judge. And in essence, he's made my life and my family's life hell for 12 and a half years. I started their business. I found the first investors for their business. He sent me an email saying, brilliant, well done. I always knew you could do this. And then I went on holiday, which he would have known about as my employer. And the first leg in a carousel property fraud occurred. So I lost my first property to a freak sewage flood that was never investigated. I can now prove that it was a criminal. It was not a naturally occurring event, and I have done over 100 DSARs to basically join up the evidence and prove that um, Jay Stern and Co. Tom Price were basically working with Barclays, um, the too big to fail bank, to asset strip me of my properties, and they were also targeting my parents' properties. What's quite interesting, I just noticed actually some research today, is that within the last month, BlackRock have got a fixed charge over Barclays, the entire business of Barclays. Something big is going on. Barclays itself is an entirely encumbered business. It actually should not be too big to fail. It's a failing business by definition. It's got so many charges over it, and to all appearances, Jay Stern and Co. and other entities involved have worked together for the benefit of Barclays to asset strip me. So where this sort of fits in with Epstein is that for those of you who have not really looked into the Epstein files, they're fascinating. The little that's been released so far. Um, Basically, Jez Staley was banking Jeffrey Epstein at JP Morgan in the US. He was basically the account handler, and JP Morgan failed to file suspicious activity reports on Jeffrey Epstein because he was their most profitable client. And then there was a thing called Project Jez, in which um, there was a lobbying effort going on to put Jez Staley in as the CEO of Barclays in the UK. This occurred between 2012 and 2015, and he was put in position in December 2015. So you've got this sort of continuity between JP Morgan and Barclays, with Jez Staley, who was the right-hand man of Epstein. He was executor on his will for quite some time. And this is where things get quite interesting in relation to the UK government, because the UK government basically had all its contracts with Barclays until March 2025, which was just before Jez Staley was fined and banned from operating in financial services. So something very interesting is going on in terms of how the banks are working with the judicial apparatus to asset strip us. I've lost everything. I had a squeaky clean FCA record. When I was used as the person who started the business of J Stern and Co. I've been researching them, and I can't see how many of them are able to operate, but they are still operating. And I went to the police back at the outset when Tom Price first assaulted me in the office, and the police were the ones that misdirected me to the employment tribunals, which is where the second leg of my property fraud started. Um, but yeah, that's the essence of my case. And Yeah, I think we're going to see an awful lot more coming out soon in relation to the Epstein files. I mean, Sir Mark Rowley is over visiting New York, saying he wants the Epstein files released in relation to Mandelson and Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew. But I've been reporting Jay Stern and co, who are adjacent with Edmund de Rothschild, who'd been convicted of money laundering last year. One of the entities dissolved just before Jerome Stern stepped down, and is now in the Panama Papers, has changed his name, and he is in Italy.
It's because we are, I'd say, the 98%, because with all their secret societies, they're probably 2%. And the Wizard of Oz, the curtain is now open, and we can see exactly who they are.
Yeah,
and we've got them named. So yeah, I think we are winning the war. God wins anyway.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
But we have to put the effort in between us.
I think that's one of the biggest problems I find within the truth freedom movement, that a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of good people, but there's a lot of people who just want everything done for them.
We have to put the work in.
We have to stand up together, and we have to stay united, and we have to be coordinated, and we have to, Michelle's fantastic at remaining positive. We advance slowly and surely. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Oh. So what's your support structure then? What's your support team like? Because I assume you must have, you got a team behind you? It's not just you two?
No. We're working with most people across the country. Look, I think this is what we mustn't do. On this call, we're human beings. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes. But if we all unite and we all stay together and keep it focused on the Bill of Rights, the rule of law, and we all just keep exposing, we end up with someone like Rupert Lowe taking back our country. And we all have to stand together, and we have to simplify the fraud. You can't.
Does Rupert Lowe go down the Bill of Rights route? Is he familiar with all that, or is he still very much establishment, but singing a different tune?
Well, I think what I'm trying to do, and with Maribel and others, we're trying to introduce John Bingley with Mike Burke, keeping it simple, that they're in breach of the coronation oath.
Yeah.
We have a Bill of Rights that can actually rectify everything with the rule of law. So I have introduced through third parties the simple evidence. I think at the moment, Rupert still doesn't realise that our written constitution is in the Bill of Rights. It's there in that simple instrument. And if we all across the country stick to those documents, the way John Bingley's placed those documents, and keep it simple, and the fact that the Crown is in breach of its coronation oath, the Crown Corporation, it's a very simple way to break the corporations and take back control of our courts and governments. I think that is a very simple message today for everyone to start looking at John Bingley's work, which is actually on the Make Earth Great Again website, .org.uk.
Have you had any dealings with Graham Moore?
Yes, I know about Graham. Graham learnt a lot of his work through Mike Burke and John Bingley. I think his work's superb too.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say I would hook you two up if you weren't familiar with each other.
I don't know him personally, but I know that he has worked closely with John Bingley's work and Mike Burke. Okay.
Well, perhaps I can get his email for you, and then it's just someone you could have on your.
Yeah.
He's quite knowledgeable as well, isn't he?
He's very knowledgeable. Yeah.
Because the Bill of Rights the Bill of Rights is still, still live. It didn't go anywhere, and it hasn't been updated. Well, it's been updated, but it hasn't been, overturned or overruled, has it? So
they can't repeal it. They cannot repeal it. No.
Yeah.
No, they can try and hide it, but they can't.
Which they have done. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But we don't get taught it at school, do we? That's not
Well,
interesting.
this is it. That's also why
Mm.
they stopped teaching Latin and etymology.
Mm.
Where do you see ourselves in like the next 5 to 10 years?
Oof.
I see an abundance on this earth, and that by then we'll be absolutely free. But you see, what we mustn't do, the division is how
Mhm.
they've controlled us.
Yeah.
So I believe we no more division. I think
Hmm.
the 98% have to work together,
Yeah.
and we have to retrain our judges and our MPs with our constitution and our Bill of Rights, and keep it very simple. But we are going to, I'm afraid to say, have to clean house and remove a lot of the wrongdoing. And that's how I see our future, keeping it that simple. We should maybe, whether we set up a new sheriff's service with the
Hmm.
police, because there are a
Yeah.
lot of good police officers still. But if we set it up as a sheriff's service and follow the constitution with the
Hmm.
rule of law, remove this usury and work a
Yeah.
system that works for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.